Howdy team, me again. Just back with another little quick one for you. I'm trying to get a few quick ones in, build up a bit of content. Starting out with nothing feels a little bit, makes me feel insecure. So bigger is better, I always say anyway. So here I am with my first night at Pentridge. Man, it's a long time ago now. My first night at Pentridge, I would have been only in my early, just 21 maybe. Yeah, 21. Um, my son had just been born. Yes, actually, my son had just been born a week or two, and then I got locked up. Yeah, and that was hairy, man. Like, I was in the cells, Frankston cells, and that was hairy enough. I'd done a few in the cells, but get bail, up until this point. But this time, um, I'd been given a sentence that they had caught. But my mother was there, and I assumed that she would, I appealed bail straight away. I was that scared to go to jail. I appealed bail. And the judge gave me appeal bail, but it was going to be $500. I looked at my mum, quietly confident. Sweet, I'll be out of here by tonight. And about half an hour later, my mum came and visited me at the cells and said, "Oh, I've got to go home now and get dinner on. Good luck with everything." And so I got the subtle message that there was going to be no bail paid for me. So, anyway, I had some fantastical idea that some fairy angel would turn up over the night, my dad, my best mate, my long-lost uncle, somebody, and pay this money to get me out on bail. And to be honest, had I got out on bail, I would have offended immediately. I was strung out, hung out, so like dope sick from heroin that I couldn't make a rational decision if my life depended on it. So my whole idea of getting out was just to get on. So obviously my parents knew that, the judge knew that. I think even my lawyer half by voted for that, by looking back on it. But anyway, I didn't get out. So I'm sitting in the cells that night, and it was the weekend. And the whole time I'm thinking someone's going to show up. At some point, someone will turn up. My grandfather will take pity on me, and like it was only 500 of it. I mean, it was 30 something years ago, so probably a couple of grand now or whatever. But it was only 500, and I'm thinking they're going to come and get me. They wouldn't let me go to Pentridge. Monday morning comes, and they call my name. The police in the station called my name when they were calling out the names, and I assumed they were calling me to go up and get bench bail from the judge. And they called me up and said, "Hey, Dustin, you're on the escort." I said, "To where?" I said, "To jail, Pentridge." And then I nearly had a heart attack. No protesting. I was, no. I'm waiting for. I've got to appeal bail. I'm getting out. I'm going home soon. As soon as someone comes to pay it, I'm out of here. And he goes, "Yeah, well, we can let you out from Coburg, mate. Don't worry about it." And so it didn't matter what I said. I was on the bus going to Pentridge and absolutely shitting myself. And on the truck, there was a guy who has obviously done some jail, and he knew it was my first time, so he was really stirring me up. He was really giving me horror stories that you imagine, And so, by the time I got there, I don't know, they took us to a division. It was late. It was night time. All we wanted to do was have a ciggy, but they gave us a packet of ciggies. They gave us a feed, gave us a bit of milk and some brewing gear, coffee and sugar, and sent us off up to ourselves. And as I was walking up, I walked into the D division, and it was like a castle. That was the first time I felt like I'd ever been in a castle. And as I was walking up to the third tier to go right up to the what they used to call the Bronx, the real high turnover. No one looks after these cells, hardly at all, chatty. As I'm walking down there, I hear my name getting called out from another cell. And it was one of my mates from Menzies Ave, a very, very good friend of mine, Darren Gray, RIP mate. Love you, brother. Yeah, he's calling to me and said, "What are you doing here, mate? What are you doing here? You don't come to jail." And so anyway, I got some smokes off him through the eye hole, little peephole that the screws had in the doors, and felt a bit more comfortable about the day. That now I know someone there. Yeah, the next morning I wake up and it's a whole different story. It's all different people. Nothing is from what it looked like last night. Everything looks different. It looks 3 times bigger and 3 times more imposing. And but within the first hour or two, I'd run into a couple of heads that I knew from Dandenong, guys that I'd knocked around with. And that was sort of, look, they introduced me to this guy, to that guy. One of them was a yard billet. And he was introducing to me mates and showing me what rorts he could get. He was like his extra shooter and with the big rorts. Yeah, but it was really interesting, And on my first day there, I was standing at the gate, and one of the other crims, as my friend was introducing me to him, he said, "This is my mate Kama." And I said to the guy, "Oh, g'day, boss. Nice to meet you." And both went quiet. I had no idea. And he said, "You didn't just call me boss, did you?" And my mate's going, No, he doesn't know. He didn't know what he's mean. He didn't mean it. He goes, "You can't say that. That's what we call it, screws." And I mean, lucky I was behind one of those barred wall doors, gates. Otherwise, the guy probably would have had to put one on me just because I said it in the circle in front of other people. But I was well known enough by some of the guys there that I think I just got off with a warning, more or less. Yeah, but my first night, I had the worst cellmate you could think of. The fella's name was Silliman Crudger. Now that's a name. If you've got the time, look him up. Silliman Crudger. He had a bit of a shootout at the Supreme Court at some stage, and it must have happened 20 years prior to me meeting him. But he was still, that's all he talked about for the whole night of my first night in jail. This old Slovenian, I don't know if it's Serb, Czech, whatever, Croat, whatever, but he was Slovenian, and he just would not stop explaining to me how it's not his fault. And I mean, the guy's already done 25 years for shooting 2 people in the Supreme Court or murdering. You know what I mean? That's what had happened. I'm sure if you look it up, I don't know the details off the top of my head. In future videos when this comes up, I'll have the details on the screen. But for now, if you want to look it up, Silliman Crudger shot 3 in the Supreme Court in Melbourne. It might have been early 80s or somewhere around there. But yeah, so I'm in the cell with him all night, my first night, and he's this real angry big guy, and just really ramming it down my throat how innocent he is. And he was, his idea of innocence was he said, "I only shot the dog that was the lawyer," so his wife's lawyer, and he only shot the dog and the dog that was sleeping with his wife. And he couldn't understand why he had to serve so much time. He couldn't get his head around. Like, he thought it was his wife. She'd been sleeping around. Fair enough. And the other guy was trying to stick up for him and defend him. And he was about to lose the case in the Supreme Court. So he pulled out the business and let a couple rip. And 30 years later, I wind up in Pentridge and he's telling me the story like it happened yesterday. Yeah, so very next morning, I went straight down to the bench and got a cell change. But in D Division in those days, you could be in any cell any night. As I've said in other videos, I'm sure most of you guys know. In those days, in the yards, you had to carry your stuff with you in your bag. You could be in any cell any day, whatever. So unless you had that Collins Street cell, you would carry in your bags. So yeah, it was always something happening, something weird, and something that totally would is unbelievable if you don't see it with your own eyes. I mean, I've heard some of you guys' stories, and I can tell they're true because I know I've seen exactly the same things happen. Just yeah. I just want to be honest with what I know, and there's been a few things I've heard that aren't true, so, and they're to do with I wouldn't say recent stuff, but stuff that's close to my home. Considering I come from North Dandenong, I did most of my jail in Pentridge and early 2000s. I grew up with guys like. I just grew up with guys who get into lots of trouble, you know what I mean? And they've got high profile. So without saying any names, I mean, I'm sure I will at some point, but I'm not going to sit here and rattle off names. I'd just rather tell you about the story and what really happened. So ask me a question and I'll tell you what I know about it. Yeah, like I was at the what they called the MRC when Peter Gibb and Archie blew the window out with the cigarette lighters and the detonator and that. So like, I mean, I was in a few I've got a really few. I forget how many funny stories I've got and just random, out of control, crazy stories I've got. If you ask me and prompt me, I know if I'm getting forgetful now in my 50s, but yeah, once I get onto the subject, if I was there and if I know anything about it, quite happy to tell you. More than happy to tell you, because I'm sick of hearing people just want to like ram it down your throat, and people they claim that they're being asked these questions, yet being asked questions about things they couldn't possibly know about. People that haven't been to Pentridge shouldn't be answering questions about what life in Pentridge was like. Or, not that they shouldn't be, but I don't know. It just feels a bit like cheap and commercial. It's because crime. Let's talk about crime. People like crime. Let's make up a story where I walked into a cell with 20 guys and walked out with one black eye. Blah blah blah. It's all bullshit, mate. No one's walking out of a cell. No matter fucking 3 or more blokes, you go in there. You're not walking out, mate. I don't care who you think you are. People telling me, people putting on YouTube, walked into one of the 3-outers at Port Phillip with 5 or 6 guys and walked out like that. No, I know, mate. But anyway, I mean, if that's what happened, that's what happened. I've been in those cells, man, and if you go in any of them cells with any more than 3, you can't even swing a punch, let alone fucking dance around and fucking duck and weave. You know what I mean? Let's just keep it real, guys. We don't have to make it up. The truth is good enough. You know what I mean? The truth about prison life and the truth about the way things are done in Melbourne is enough. We don't need to make up the lies. I mean, it's a hectic place. There's been some hectic stuff happen, some hectic people, some serious people, mate. So let's not make up stuff, guys. Let's just keep it real. All right, guys. 87963. I'm out.